Handbooks, and you have tons, and you have.
They can't see me, they're on you.
Hey, you have a microphone. Just telling
Thank you,
you.
Mr. Shields. At this time, I will call our May 24th meeting of the Macon County Board of Education to order. Appreciate everyone that's here, taking part. As we said, it's nice to get back to what we consider more of a normal routine. And we also like to welcome those that's streaming. We appreciate that. We always appreciate Tim and his staff for making that possible. So without too much ado, like I said, we're glad everyone's here. So at this time, I'm just simply going to ask everyone if they would please rise. And as we do, we turn to our vice chair, Mr. Cave. So Tommy, if you would.
We've done this for a few years, moment of silence for our veterans. And then we start adding on, and Lord, in this day and time, I think we got the whole country, maybe the world, but think of the ones that are in more danger than we are. I mean, we get in danger driving on the road every day, but our veterans and whatever, bow our heads and take a moment. Amen. Thank you. Pledge.
And I pledge allegiance.
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Tommy. Everyone please be seated. First is the approval of the minutes. All the board members received in their packet the minutes from our regular meeting on April 26th. Are there any questions, changes, questions? Board members, hearing none. We have a motion to be accepted as presented. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. Next is the adoption of the agenda. I'll bring it out and I'll look at Renee to remind me. We do have one change on one of our school trips. I think it's a date, but we'll talk about that when we get there, if that's all right. So just to know there's a change in one of those. Do we need to have?
Actually, it's just an addition.
An addition, so we'll get that when we get there. Dr. Baldwin, any other additions?
No change.
Board members?
Nope.
Hearing none, I entertain a motion that we adopt our agenda.
So moved.
In a second.
Second.
All in favor, say by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. Tonight we don't have any, I think I'm correct, Dr. Baldwin, recognitions or presentations?
No, sir.
This time. Next we have our public comment. So, Mr. Deville, you are first out of the chute, and your topic, notes of gratitude.
That's right. So, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Dr. Baldwin, members of Central Office staff, indeed they are notes of gratitude. We've got 5 bullet points here, I think. So I wanted to thank Dr. Baldwin and the board for allowing teachers to have the opportunity, teachers and staff, to have the opportunity to get 2 vaccines before we did a full reopen. So I thank you very much for that. I want to thank Dr. Baldwin and the board for supporting the revitalization of arts in Macon County schools. It looks like there's momentum. The voices that were in the room at the County Commission were, last meeting, were indeed eloquent, forceful, data-driven, powerful anecdotes. I take some optimism from the poll that's in the Franklin Press this week asking people whether or not they support revitalization of arts in Macon County schools, and it looks like that poll is overwhelmingly positive. I want to thank the board and Dr. Baldwin for the initiative for the new Franklin High School. I hope that we can take advantage of what it seems to be a particular opportunity, particular moment where there seems to be some critical mass both in the public sphere and on the county commission to maybe move that process along, long overdue, and I'm very grateful for the board and Dr. Baldwin for that initiative. I'm also grateful to Dr. Baldwin for the listening tour that he conducted at Franklin High School, gathering input for the ideal candidate to replace Mr. Woody as our principal, both in terms of particular qualities we would be looking for, what that person looks like in terms of behavior, background, and then in addition, and I thought that the meetings were vigorous, they were animated, I thought there was a lot of really good give and take, and I thought that was really positive. And I heard notes from many, Dr. Baldwin had that during our planning meetings. Ours was particularly animated, and I heard it was pretty similar in the other meetings as well. And I think that the staff at Franklin High School was grateful for the opportunity to provide input, because we believe that, I mean, obviously we believe that our voice is the most important voice in this selection process. And finally, I want to thank the board and Dr. Baldwin for the hazard pay that this board passed last meeting. I don't know if this board is aware, other boards, a handful of other boards across the state have passed hazard pay. I'm not aware, a lot of the boards where they have awarded hazard pay only did it for the faculty. A lot of times where they awarded hazard pay for the faculty and staff, the staff was less. I don't think that there is a single county across 116 districts in North Carolina that awarded $750 to both faculty and staff. And I think that the message that sends is overwhelmingly positive and essential. That every single person that we have in Macon County Schools is really in a lot of ways just as important as the person to his or her left and right. That the school doesn't function at a high level without the bus driver, without the custodian, without maintenance, without the cafeteria worker, without the teacher assistant, without all the office support staff. Teachers in classrooms cannot do their jobs well. And after the year we had, I think that was, the pay is always welcome. Money always feels good riding in the pocket. But the message that was sent by this board and Dr. Baldwin to say that the faculty and the staff are equally important, we're going to pay you the same in this particular case, I thought was huge. And so I thank you for all that.
Thank you for those kind words, Mr. Deville.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you for being here. Ms. Lampkin.
I'm just here to show my continued support for getting the arts back in the schools, and thank you for your support.
Okay. Thank you. I think as John touched, we hope that there is some initiative there for serious consideration, so we're moving forward. Keep our fingers crossed. Anyone else here may not be on the agenda would like to address the board? Don't see any takers, so we will move on. Next, informational items. Board members, y'all had a chance to see the overnight out-of-district trip request. All right, I hate to sound ignorant here, but Devon's was not on there.
Right, you just need to add
Yeah, so
that.
this is an addition, board members, make sure I understood about wine that came in, and I'll give everybody a moment just to look that over. It's like it's a leadership account that she's looking to take her students from the agricultural department. So I would look at, we've all had a chance, does any board member have any questions on any of the requests that have been submitted?
We accept as presented.
Have a motion to accept the request as presented. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Have a motion to second. Any other discussion, board members? Hearing none, all in favor, someone saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. We do have the one fundraising request for, I think everybody had a chance to go for the soccer team. Taking bets of myself and just how old of a person we will have out there. Hopefully, it should be a lot of fun. Any questions? I would entertain a motion.
So moved.
A motion that we approve the request for the fundraiser for men's soccer. Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor, so I'm saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Let me explain why I was laughing. I used to actually take part in a basketball game. We did that, and Wilford Corbin was, I think, that's a well-known name in our, I think he was 70-something years old when he came.
Whooped up on you, did he?
Yes, sir, he did. I guarantee you. And I thought that was one of the neatest things ever, where he came and took part. That was really, that's something special. So
That's
we
all when
have a
I
lot
was in
of-
our head. We think we knew a lot of stuff we can't though.
Oh, yeah.
Finding out.
That's what I was laughing about this. I guarantee you will not see me out there, blah, blah, blah. Next on the policy, I don't think Ms. McMahon is here. All the board members had, I think, the changes were, and what we had was those she highlighted in yellow. If anyone has any questions about those, I'm sure Dr. Baldwin can fill in or answer any questions. To me, it looks like they're all just standard, put things in bold writing and do various things like that. Are there any questions?
Move we accept as presented.
Have a motion we accept. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor of acceptance, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. Next, we have an exceptional children's support contract with Ms. Guest. I saw Brooke was here. So there you are. You're hiding from me back behind. Jake, you're gonna have to scrunch down so I can see. This is an ongoing contract, is it not, Brooke?
It is. She serves as a data management specialist for all of our exceptional children's records. So we'd like to continue contracting.
Right. So, I don't think all of us are very familiar with Barb. Any questions?
Move we accept.
I have a motion that we accept the contract as presented. Do I hear a second? I have a motion second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? So moved. Mr. Gibbs, Macon Summer Adventure Camp
Yes, sir.
contact.
This is a contract that every year Summer Adventure does with Macon County Recreation Department to use the facilities like the pool and other facilities at the rec park.
It wasn't a price increase, was it?
I know, sir.
I didn't think so. I looked at it and think so. Good. Okay. Any questions? Board members? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion.
So moved.
I have a motion that we accept the contract as presented. Do I hear a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All the board members in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. Freedom Fitness Personal Training, Healthy Teacher Contract. This is something new, is it not, Mr.
Yes, sir. This is new. This is a group that contacted us to provide help to teachers, faculty, staff to be more healthy through nutrition, workout schedules, competitions, trying to help the teachers deal with COVID and a different schedule and the stress of COVID. These ladies have provided meal schedules, nutrition information, workout schedules, etc. And they would like to continue to do this for next year too. For next year. Sorry.
And correct me if I was looking, there's not a set price on that, is there?
It's based on the number of people. that
Number of people,
participate.
yeah, and the actual participation, wasn't it? Yeah.
And I think we've had anywhere between 5 and 25 people,
Doing great.
depending on the school, that have agreed to participate.
Okay. That sounds like I think something to be received well. Board members, any questions? Mr. Gibbs? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion.
So moved.
You're on a roll tonight up
Come
there,
on,
aren't you?
women.
Mr. Chair.
Wait.
I have a motion to accept.
Keep me awake. That's what
Do I
it
hear a
is.
second?
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved.
Thank you.
Mr. Lynch, if you don't mind, what we'll do is we'll look at all these. I think they're all very, very similar. If you don't mind, we'll do all 4 of them at the same time, if that works for you, please.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So these contracts are for our summer programming. Basically, it starts the middle of June and will conclude the academic portion the middle of July. So we have teachers, TAs, we have bus drivers, we have cafeteria workers, all throughout just to pull this off. When it's really said and done, we'll have about 600 plus students served at the K-8 level. And then we will also tack on 9th through 12th credit recovery as well as remediation. So these contracts just solidify all the work that is being done to address learning loss with our most at-risk students who are at risk for failure, so that we can hopefully close the gap and get them on a much better trajectory for the academic for next school year. And John, you may need to interject a little bit if there's anything you need to point out.
I'm happy to. I mean, I think the most unusual thing about this is you have not typically had to enter into separate contracts for employees that are for these, for any kind of summer activities. This is as a result, and you have a citation to Session Law 2021-7. That's the act of the General Assembly that directed us to host a summer program this year, and it directed that you do enter into contracts for teachers and other employees, it says. So that's what's slightly different about this. You wouldn't typically have had to enter into contracts for it, but that's the way it read. There is a bonus structure that you may be aware of, that teachers who either had national board certification or had been eligible for bonuses for math and reading EVOS scores in the past few years were eligible for a signing bonus with it. Everybody else is paid on a more or less as agreed basis. So this is our standard contract we've worked over with the whole state for this sort of special purpose, and I do recommend you approve.
Does this indicate pay for Macon County personnel?
Well, I'm assuming you have worked that out with them on an individual basis, because that's pretty much what you're directed in that liberty to do. And it is in there, it's like the fourth paragraph that.
And what we have discussed, we've not made this public to those staff members who are working, but I don't think we have, Josh, have we?
Yes,
1.25%.
The staff members are aware, yes.
Okay. And we were fortunate in Macon County to have these teachers agree to work before we actually made them aware of that bonus, which is in alignment with a lot of the systems that are around us.
Yes.
So we're very grateful for those staff members to agree to work additional time this summer to help our students get recover from the pandemic academically. But we do need to make everyone aware that our staff are receiving pay in line with school systems around us.
Which is the way it should be, obviously. Any questions for Mr. Lynch, for Dr. Baldwin, board members, or comments?
Mr. Chairman, with the indulgence of the board, I just wonder if Josh and Brooke could just kind of give an explanation of all that's going into making this summer program work with regard to the cooperation from our local partners, with EC funding, with summer adventure camp, how we're making this, how these two really have put this all together for the students of Macon County this summer. It's complicated, and they're juggling a lot of hats to make sure that our students are served to the extent that we can possibly serve them this summer.
So there are a few different pots of money that are being used in order to facilitate this. But just like Dr. Baldwin had mentioned, there'd be no way we could make such an effort if it weren't for our teachers and our bus drivers, cafeteria workers, because this is a lot of students. We really have not served this many students in a summer program before. And when we started doing the planning, we had a core bulk of teachers who were just so excited to really join us and lock arms, because they knew exactly what these students have been up against. And even though they are tired, the teachers themselves, and they've been through quite the year, they knew that they would gain momentum if they did partner with us and really just support these students, meet them where they're at, but also provide this for their parents. Parents are in need of work. And so it was really a joint effort. And when we reached out to our community partners, the Nantahala Learning Center, Danny Antoine's Karate Academy, Maggie's Music Academy, as well as New Vision's Gymnastics, they were so excited to partner with us. And a lot of those entities, they were going to take a hit this summer because they just didn't have the support, or really just the ability to serve the students in the capacity that they have before. Parents just couldn't afford it, to be quite honest with you. A lot of parents had reached out and said, you know, we want to be able to take advantage, but we just can't this year. So they were looking at just some different funding schedules as well. So 2 of those particular entities, if it weren't for this partnership, they most likely would not have had the opportunity to serve those students and those families in that capacity. So they're very, very grateful. And you know, we really hope that this doesn't end with this school year, that we can continue this type of partnership and really, you know, grow this in the future. So they're excited to partner along with us. But just like Dr. Baldwin said, it is quite the endeavor, but there's no way we could do it without the support of the board, but the support of our teachers and our teacher assistants and our faculty and staff. They've just really rallied, and they have shown up, and they have really done what needs to be done. They are in pre-planning right now for the robust summer session, and we are offering reading, math, and science at the K-8 level, and quite extensively. And then we'll do credit recovery and remediation at the 9th through 12th grade level. And that's going to look a little bit different. EOCs are still underway right now, so we're still obtaining names as well as students who would be eligible for that service. So we're still building rosters as we speak. And then Brooks' extended school year program, you can talk about that. That's quite robust this year as well.
So we have 2 very different pots. We have our at-risk summer camp, where we had to triage the students who are at most risk, and we're not going to meet grade level standards by the end of the year. So every school had a list that they had to triage who was going to be invited, and that encompassed some exceptional children and some children who didn't have that designation. And we also have every year some of our students who have individualized education plans do qualify on a yearly basis for extended school year opportunities, and that's just if they are on the cusp of meeting an IEP goal, or if they have data to show that they seriously regress over the summer when we're closed. So we are offering hours that are greatly expanded. Typically we only offer 72 hours in the summer, and what we are going to do, because I hear these parents too, it is a hardship for some of these parents to leave work and get their children at 1:30. And we have created an opportunity for additional service hours to be provided to these students, just to also meet those social emotional needs and just experiential things to happen for these students. So we have also, we're mirroring what they're doing with our extended school year students. So they're having the opportunity to come from 7:30 to 5:30 if they'd like to, and work on their individualized education plan goals and do things that are very appropriate to their development. So we're very thankful that we have teachers that are willing to come in and work after an exhausting year and just provide for these students. I would love to see this summer opportunity continue to expand to where even if we have children with significant needs that don't qualify for extended school year, to be a part of some sort of learning camp, maybe that's not exactly mandated like the at-risk program was via the general statutes, but just opening it up to a lot more of our kids. I think it's something that people are very excited about, and we're just excited to be able to offer this for the students. Families are thrilled. 16 out of the 17 took me up on it that are in extended school year. And I'm sure the other one probably will when I see how fun it is. So.
One thing that also bears noting is for our bus drivers, they will be running a morning route, a midday route, as well as an evening route. And in order to make that happen, across this county, that's a huge endeavor, and they have partnered very well, and they're working on their routes right now. So Mr. Gibbs has helped facilitate that. So it's quite an endeavor, but we are excited.
I think that comment just gives you some indication of the complexities that these folks have dealt with in planning this summer program for our kids. To run buses 3 times daily, they put together quite a program. I appreciate their efforts.
I had a quick question about the breakfast and lunches. Are those provided free through the summer program as they were this school year?
Yes.
Great.
And my extended school year students will be on site at South Macon, so it's not an additional hardship for child nutrition. They're gonna be at the same site, and a lot of them have the classrooms they'll be using over the summer.
But with all these complexities, I would ask for patience from the parents. It's going to be something we've never done before.
First time through. Anything else, Dr. Baldwin?
No, sir.
Mr. Lynch, I hope you take this in the spirits offered. Y'all just humbled me with the way y'all have approached this and how you describe what you're trying to do for our children. And that's why our educators, I firmly believe our educators in Macon County are second to none. So thank you both. That was very inspiring. I appreciate it. Thank you.
That's why we hire people like them.
I know. But it's always nice to hear it again and make you pat yourself on the back and say, there you go. Enrichment contracts, Mr. Lynch.
Yes, I had touched on that just a little bit with our NLC, Denny Antoine's, Maggie's, and
Right.
Divisions. They will actually be taking over at 1:30 each day, Monday through Thursday, and they will be providing that enrichment component to our students until 4:30. Nantahala Learning Center as well as Maggie's, they will be on site at South Macon, whereas Denny Antoine and New Visions, we will be busing our students to them, and then parents will pick them up at the end of the day.
Mr. Chairman, board members, the one thing about, and I again recommend you approve all of these, what we all know to be very worthy community partners for this, for the enrichment activities. I am working through contracts for each of them. You're required anytime you're paying an outside entity like that for a service
Right.
anyway to do that. But also, it'll be sort of similar to the agreements you entered into for the remote learning centers. We did one with Nantahala Learning Center at the start of COVID to just say, this is kind of extending out school activities, either with them coming in to provide some of it or our students going out to them. So I would ask for that portion of your approval to just be contingent on and understood to be contingent on a satisfactory contract and legal review.
Okay. Any other questions, board members? If not, entertain a motion as suggested by our attorney that he'll be reviewing those and his assessments after his review, subject to his approval, that we do accept those contracts with the four parties named. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
I
Second.
have a motion and a second down here. Choose whichever one. Any other discussion?
Of the week at that.
All in favor, say by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. Very good. Next on curriculum instruction, doesn't appear there's anything at this time. Buildings and grounds, Mr. Gibbs.
Yes, sir, the continuing saga that is Iowa Valley Elementary Geothermal. I met with a company from Atlanta who he brought a subcontractor that he works with. The original contractor does not have a North Carolina license, but the subcontractor does. And they're talking to Jack Morgan. Their plan is to just replace joints, which should be cheaper, but I've not seen their estimate yet. But it's in process. And once we get that estimate, I'll bring it back before the board also.
I'm not trying to insult you when I ask you this, what about two, but you feel comfortable with this, folks? I'm sure we're doing our due diligence.
They were, out of all the ones that I met with, well,
Right.
this is the third contractor. They had more knowledge of geothermal systems than the other two.
Great.
So based on that fact, I think that their plan of only replacing joints is I didn't think so at first, but I think now it's feasible.
Of course, it's still a huge project, because I think these stones ever join in there is pretty much wrong.
Yes, sir.
But, so.
Yes, sir.
Will they be able to get that done during summer?
Not this summer.
Not this summer,
It's,
but-
of course, there's a threshold on the process of awarding a job that big to a contractor. That's a timely
Right.
process.
Right.
And then gathering materials, the amount of materials that you need in a struggling building materials climate would also take time. The guys I talked to out of Atlanta, they're considering doing some in pieces during like Christmas break, spring break, if we can get rolling that quickly. But yes, more than likely a year from now.
Good.
And right now, we're not sure how long that system will be down in order for them to make the repairs.
Yes, sir.
That's what part of my question, doesn't need to make alternate plans or do something just depending on that.
The second company said that they would do lines in parallel to what's already there. So you have a bad line, and then they would construct a new line right next to it. Take that line off and put that line
Immediately on the other.
in operation, which would minimize But again, you're reconstructing the whole thing, so the cost is probably going to be more. Would be my guess.
Okay.
And the bigger issue is that all the coolant would have to be replaced, which is expensive.
Any way to do it.
Not cheap.
Any way that these three contractors, eventually when we get all their estimates, it's going to be a replacement of the fluid within the system
So
itself.
what we have in there now is water, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
But to drain the system and then
All right.
recharge it.
My compliments, Mr. Gibbs. We appreciate your work on that.
Sure.
Especially exploring other alternatives.
Yes, sir.
Those- Yeah, that's great. Anyone else have any questions of Mr. Gibbs? Good deal. Moving on. Tommy?
Something got to be done.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. Angie, let's talk about our budget amendments. Let's get all those, and then we will approve them all in mass, if that works for you, please.
First one is state. We have additional revenue of $166,083. It's pretty much standard. The only thing the bulk of that is $163,805, which is going back in PRC 009, which is our benefits that we pay out at the end of the year. That's a little bit more significant than it normally is. We've had a considerable amount of resignations and retirees this year, so that's a little bit more than normal, but it is a guaranteed allotment from the state, so whatever, if those people are paid out of state funds, then their benefits and payouts are paid out of state funds, so it's
Okay.
whatever we spend in those categories. The local per expense is just a little bit of revenue, $7,705, and that is STEM donations and robotics donations that Ms. Love has collected. The federal amendments are pretty much standard except for, you'll see the two at the end, scroll on down, Tim, there. So you see additional revenue of about $15 million. That is the addition of our ESSER 2 and our ESSER 3 funds that have come through. ESSER 2 is the $4,666,287. ESSER 3 is $10,453,32. So those are those funds to get in our budget for the current year. Capital outlay is standard and cleaning up the year, and it's the addition of, you all approved last month, the tilt skillet for South Macon, and the approval of moving some money around where we had went over and under, and to clean it up for the end of the year. So that's those amendments that are based on according to your approval last month.
My dumb question is, we have what remaining?
In capital outlay, I'm not sure the total figure. It's dwindling down to the
We're getting
end
down
of
there,
it. We're
right.
trying to clean it up and get it all used up. I think there's a little bit of technology left, and Tim's working on that.
Okay, good deal. Any questions, board members?
Move we accept as presented.
Have a motion, we accept the amendments as presented. Do I hear a second? Have a motion and a second. Any other questions, discussions? All in favor, say by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. Board of Education Information, Dr. Baldwin, doesn't look like we have any at this point in time, is that
No, sir.
correct? And coming events.
Tomorrow at 6:30, Macon Early College will be holding their graduation at the Smoky Mountain Performing Arts. Friday, May the 28th, will be the last day of school for the Franklin area. Also on Friday, May the 28th, Union Academy's graduation will be held at Union Academy. On Monday, May the 31st, we'll be honoring Memorial Day holiday. Saturday, June the 5th, Franklin High School graduation will begin at 9 a.m. on the high school football field. And then Monday, June 28th, will be our next regularly scheduled board meeting here at the board office at 6 p.m.
Very good. Closed session, we turn to our attorney, Dr. Henning. If you would please tell us about where we're going and
Yes, sir.
how we're getting there.
The reason for the closed session is one set out in GS 143-13.11A1 to prevent the disclosure of privilege for confidential personnel information pursuant to GS 115C-318 through 321 and student matters pursuant to GS 115C-402 and 20 U.S.C. 1232G. That's FERPA.
I entertain a motion
So move.
and a second.
Second.
All in favor, say by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. All right, board members, like I said, we'll move over to the other room, boardroom. Everybody's welcome to wait. Can't give you any time frame. Board back to the town hall board members back present. I'll entertain a motion. We come into open session.
So moved.
I have a motion by Mr. David to come back in. Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor of that, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. At this time, then it's up to the board. We do have a personnel report that we've discussed and approved. There were, I think, some additions to that. I'm going to entertain a motion that from the board members as far as a formal adoption of that report with the changes. Do I hear that motion?
Make a motion to accept the personnel report as amended in closed session this time.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor, so I'm saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Dr. Baldwin, at this time, I'll turn to you. If you would, I think there's an announcement that we felt like needed to be made. So if you would, please.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Included in this personnel report are the amendments for principal at Franklin High School and for principal at Macon Middle School. The recommended amendment for Franklin High School will be for Mickey Noe from Clay County, and for Dr. Kevin Bailey from Jackson County to be the principal at Macon Middle School.
And that is what, when you said amended the personnel report, that is what the board has accepted. So, this time, board members, or anything else needs to come before the board? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
And a second? All in favor, say by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved.